They say the quiet ones are the most dangerous. I used to laugh at that cliché back when I thought being predictable was a virtue. My name is Rylan Ventor, and for 8 years, I've been the reliable IT consultant who fixes everyone's problems while my own life crumbles in high definition. Paris tickets? Mira's voice cut through our kitchen like a rusty blade. She held the envelope between 2 manicured fingers, treating it like contaminated evidence. Really, Rylan? This is your idea of romance? I watched her perfectly sculpted face twist into that familiar expression of disgust. Even at 36, my wife could make disappointment look elegant. Her marketing executive training served her well in moments like these. I thought you'd enjoy what? Another predictable vacation where you plan every museum visit and restaurant reservation? She tossed the tickets onto our granite countertop. Other men actually know how to make a woman feel alive, Rylan. They understand spontaneity. The irony wasn't lost on me. For 3 months, I'd been tracking her spontaneous activities through our shared credit card statements and the home security system I'd installed. Yoga classes that lasted 4 hours. Shopping trips that never produced bags. Phone calls that ended the moment I entered a room. Maybe you're right, I said, keeping my voice level. Maybe I am too predictable. Mira's phone buzzed against the counter. She grabbed it with practiced speed, angling the screen away from me. Her thumbs danced across the keyboard with the enthusiasm she used to reserve for our conversations. Gina's having people over tonight, she announced without looking up. Don't wait up. After she left, trailing expensive perfume and lies, I retreated to my home office. 3 monitors glowed in the darkness, displaying financial records, security footage, and text message logs that painted a picture no marriage counselor could fix. The truth about Keaton Merren wasn't hard to uncover. Personal trainer at Elite Fitness, drives a souped-up Mustang, and apparently believes protein powder is a food group. Mira's gym membership had increased from 3 visits per month to 12. Her yoga flexibility had improved dramatically, according to her giggling phone conversations with Gina. I opened my laptop and began typing. Return receipts for jewelry, designer clothes, and accessories purchased over the past year. Every item Mira claimed was essential for her professional image. The stores were surprisingly accommodating when I explained the situation. By midnight, I'd arranged for everything to be shipped to Keaton's apartment with a note. She said you know how to make her feel alive. Here's everything she'll need to start fresh. The next morning, Mira's scream shattered our suburban tranquility. Where are my clothes? Where's my jewelry? She stood in our bedroom doorway, hair wild, clutching her empty jewelry box. I returned them, I said calmly, adjusting my tie. Got store credit for everything. Seemed like the practical thing to do. Her face cycled through confusion, rage, and calculation. You can't just... Actually, I can. They were purchased with joint funds, and I have all the receipts. I picked up my briefcase. Besides, you said I was too predictable. I'm working on that. The house locks clicked as I left for work. Smart technology is wonderful when you're the one who installed it. Sheriff Tully called me during my lunch break, his voice carrying that careful neutrality cops use when they're not sure who's telling the truth. Rylan, I've got Mira here filing a report about stolen property, says you cleaned out her closet without permission. I leaned back in my office chair, watching traffic crawl past my window. Did she mention the receipts I left on the kitchen table? Every purchase was made with our joint account. I simply returned items we couldn't afford. She's also claiming you changed the locks. I upgraded our security system. Mira has the new access codes. I paused. Well, she would if she'd come home last night to get them. Tully sighed. Just keep things civil, all right? Small towns don't need big drama. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a fraud alert. Mira had frozen our joint checking account. Amateur move. I'd opened a separate account 3 weeks ago and transferred half our savings along with my direct deposit. Perfectly legal, completely documented. I was reviewing server logs when Keaton's Mustang roared into our driveway. Through my office window, I watched him unfold from the driver's seat like an angry origami crane. All muscle and swagger, wearing a tank top despite the October chill. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. The doorbell rang insistently. I took my time answering, coffee mug in hand. You think you're clever? Keaton's chest puffed out like a territorial rooster. Sending Mira's stuff to my place with some passive-aggressive note? I thought it was rather direct, actually. I sipped my coffee. Was I wrong about you making her feel alive? His face reddened. Listen, you computer nerd! I pulled out my phone and tapped the screen. Keaton's car alarm shrieked to life, headlights flashing in a seizure-inducing strobe pattern. Neighbors emerged from their houses like prairie dogs sensing danger. Nice biceps, Keaton, I said over the wailing. Shame about the brain. He lunged toward his car, jabbing at his key fob while the alarm continued its electronic tantrum. Janet from next door had her phone out, recording everything. By evening, the footage would be circulating through every neighborhood group chat. How did you... Predictable people learn useful skills. I closed the door while he was still fumbling with his keys. That evening, I dove deeper into Keaton's financial footprint. Credit cards maxed out, rent 3 months behind, and a pattern of expensive purchases that coincided perfectly with Mira's yoga sessions. He wasn't just stealing my wife, he was bleeding her dry. The apartment lease was the real surprise. Mira had co-signed for a luxury unit downtown, guaranteeing payments on a place she'd never officially lived. According to the paperwork, she was responsible for 6 more months of rent. My phone rang at 10 p.m. Mira's number. We need to talk, she said, her voice tight with controlled fury. About what? About this childish game you're playing, freezing me out of the house, embarrassing Keaton in front of the neighbors. I didn't freeze you out. The access codes are on the kitchen table right next to the receipts you ignored. I opened my laptop. And I didn't embarrass Keaton. His car alarm malfunctioned. These things happen with older vehicles. It's a 2022 Mustang. Exactly. All those electronic components. So unreliable. The line went quiet for a long moment. When Mira spoke again, her marketing voice was back. Smooth, persuasive, calculated. Rylan, we can work this out. I know things haven't been perfect between us, but... Perfect? I laughed. Mira, you've been planning your exit strategy for months. The only thing that surprised me was how sloppy you were about it. What's that supposed to mean? Check your email. I sent you some interesting financial documents. Might want to review them before your next yoga class. I hung up and sent her copies of the apartment lease, credit card statements, and a detailed breakdown of her spending patterns. Let her explain those to Keaton. Gina's Instagram story was a masterpiece of unintentional comedy. She'd filmed Mira's meltdown outside our house, complete with dramatic gestures and mascara streaks, then posted it with crying, laughing emojis and the caption, "When your friend discovers consequences." I screenshotted everything before Gina realized her mistake and deleted it. Eli called while I was enjoying my morning coffee and the show. My brother's bar had become my unofficial headquarters since Mira's exile began. "You see the video?" he asked. "Which one? There are several making the rounds." "The one where she's pounding on your door like a zombie apocalypse survivor. Janet's got a real future in cinematography." Through my window, I watched Mira's BMW pull up. She'd spent the night somewhere else, probably Keaton's place, though according to my research, his roommate Travis wasn't thrilled about the arrangement. She approached the front door with determination, her heels clicking against the walkway like a countdown timer. The smart lock's display screen lit up as she entered various codes. Her birthday, our anniversary, her mother's maiden name. Each attempt triggered a soft beep of rejection. "Access denied," the system announced in its cheerful, automated voice. Please contact the homeowner for assistance. Mira's composure cracked. She pressed her face against the window, peering into our living room like a desperate window shopper. Her phone came out, and I watched her dial my number. I let it ring. The second call went to voicemail. The third triggered my favorite feature of the security system, the intercom. "Mira," I said through the outdoor speaker, "the access codes are on the kitchen table. Unfortunately, you'd need to get inside to retrieve them. Bit of a catch-22, isn't it?" She spun around, searching for the camera. "This is ridiculous, Rylan. It's my house too." "Actually, it's not. Check the deed. My name only. Purchased before our marriage. You've been a guest for 8 years. Her face went pale. In her rush to plan her escape, she'd overlooked that crucial detail. "Let me in right now, or I'll call the police." "Sheriff Tully's number is 555-0147. Tell him I said hello." That evening, Travis called. Keaton's roommate sounded exhausted. "Dude, I don't know what's going on between you and your wife, but she's been crying on our couch for 2 days. Keaton's freaking out because apparently she owes money all over town." "That's unfortunate," I said, "but not really my problem anymore. She keeps talking about some apartment lease and credit cards. Keaton saying you hacked his accounts or something." I almost laughed. "I'm an IT consultant, Travis, not a magician. If Keaton's having financial problems, maybe he should examine his spending habits." "Yeah, well, she's talking about getting lawyers involved. She's welcome to try. Everything I've done is completely legal." After hanging up, I opened my laptop and began the evening's work. Keaton was throwing a party Saturday night, a reputation recovery event, according to his social media posts. He'd invited half the town, probably hoping to rebuild his image after the car alarm incident. I had other plans for Saturday night. Saturday arrived with perfect October weather, crisp, clear, and ideal for outdoor humiliation. Keaton's apartment complex buzzed with party preparation. Cars filled the parking lot, music thumped from the pool area, and the scent of overpriced cologne mixed with desperation. Eli met me 3 blocks away, carrying a duffel bag of supplies. "You sure about this?" he asked. "Seems like you've already won." "Winning isn't enough," I said, checking my phone. "They need to understand the consequences of their choices." The apartment complex's smart building system was embarrassingly easy to access. Most property management companies use default passwords and never update their firmware. Within minutes, I had control of the lighting, door locks, and entertainment system. The party was in full swing when I triggered the first phase. Every television in the building, lobby, pool area, gym, even the laundry room, began playing the same video feed. Security camera footage from our house, showing Mira and Keaton's late-night yoga sessions in stunning high definition. The music stopped. Conversations died. Phones appeared as guests began recording the spectacle. Keaton's voice carried across the courtyard. "Turn it off! Someone turn it off!" But the best part was still coming. I'd edited together audio clips from Mira's phone calls, including her detailed critiques of Keaton's performance and her plans to drain the idiot dry before moving on. The crowd turned on them like a pack of wolves sensing weakness. Keaton's friends backed away, embarrassed by association. Mira tried to explain, but her voice was drowned out by laughter and jeering. Phase 2 involved Keaton's beloved Mustang. Eli had worked his magic while I handled the electronics. Shrink wrap covered the entire vehicle, and the interior was filled with biodegradable glitter and expired dog food. A banner across the windshield read, "Alpha Male Beat a Ride." The local car enthusiast forum would be talking about this for months. As the party collapsed into chaos, I walked into the courtyard with a wireless microphone. The crowd recognized me, the predictable husband who'd orchestrated their entertainment. "Ladies and gentlemen," I began, my voice echoing off the building walls, "you've just witnessed a masterclass in consequences. For months, these two believed they were smarter than everyone else. They thought kindness was weakness, and predictability was stupidity. Mira tried to approach, mascara streaming down her cheeks. Rylan, please. Please what? Please continue enabling your betrayal? Please pretend I don't know about the apartment lease, the credit cards, the plans you made to leave me with nothing, the crowd murmured, sensing drama better than any reality show. Keaton emerged from the building, his face flushed with rage and humiliation. You think you're so smart, you pathetic! He charged toward me, fists raised. I sidestepped casually, and his momentum carried him straight into the pool. The splash was magnificent, and the crowd's laughter was even better. Predictable? I said into the microphone as Keaton flailed in the water. Maybe, but only if you mistake planning for weakness. The sirens wailed in the distance as I handed the microphone back to the DJ. Sheriff Tully would arrive soon, but the real damage was already done. Phones had captured everything, and by morning, Mira and Keaton's humiliation would be immortalized across every social media platform. Mira stood dripping beside the pool, her designer dress ruined, her carefully constructed image shattered. Keaton had finally climbed out, his tank top clinging to his deflated ego. You planned this, she whispered, staring at me with something approaching respect. All of it, from the very beginning. I planned for every possibility, I corrected. The moment you chose betrayal over honesty, you set these events in motion. Gina appeared with her phone, live streaming the aftermath to her followers. This is better than Netflix, she announced to her audience. Real-time karma in action. Arden, Mira's sister, pushed through the crowd with a lawyer's precision. Mira, we need to talk. The family has some concerns about your recent choices. The financial implications were just beginning to hit them. Keaton faced eviction, credit destruction, and social exile. Mira had co-signed for debts she couldn't pay, destroyed her professional reputation, and alienated everyone who'd ever supported her. Travis emerged from the building, shaking his head. Keaton, dude, you need to find somewhere else to crash. The landlord's here, and he's not happy about the lease situation. As the crowd dispersed and the party officially ended, I walked toward my car. The revenge was complete, surgical in its precision, devastating in its scope. They'd lost everything that mattered to them: status, money, friends, and dignity. Sheriff Tully's patrol car pulled into the lot just as I reached the street. Through the rear window, I watched him survey the chaos, probably wondering how a simple domestic dispute had escalated into community theater. My phone buzzed with notifications, friend requests, interview requests, and messages from people who'd witnessed the evening's events. Apparently, the predictable husband had become something of a folk hero, but I wasn't interested in fame or sympathy. Justice was enough. The drive home took me past our old favorite restaurant, the jewelry store where I'd bought Mira's engagement ring, and the coffee shop where we'd planned our future together. 8 years of memories, reduced to evidence in a case study of betrayal. At home, I poured a glass of wine and sat in my office, surrounded by the technology that had made everything possible. The house felt different now, lighter somehow, as if a weight had been lifted from its foundation. My laptop chimed with a final notification. Mira had posted on social media a rambling apology that blamed stress, poor judgment, and toxic influences for her choices. The comments were brutal. I closed the laptop and walked to the window. Tomorrow would bring lawyers, paperwork, and the administrative details of divorce. But tonight, for the first time in months, I felt like myself again. Predictable? Perhaps. But in a world full of chaos and betrayal, predictability had become my greatest weapon. They'd mistaken consistency for weakness, reliability for stupidity, and patience for defeat. They'd learned otherwise. The story was over, the lesson delivered, and the consequences permanent. Sometimes the quiet ones really are the most dangerous, especially when they're patient enough to plan the perfect response.